and Republican Congressman Joe Welch from Illinois join me now. Good morning to both of you. And Congressman Welch, let me start with you. What if Congress doesn't act by August 2nd?
Chris, I'm not obsessed with August 2nd. We're obsessed with getting this right. We met with Standard & Poor's yesterday, and they walked us through various scenarios. They made a couple things very clear. They may downgrade our credit rating even if we raise the debt ceiling. What they told us,
but the chances would certainly increase, wouldn't it, Congressman, if this doesn't get done?
Yeah, what they told us for certain was if we raise the debt ceiling without real fundamental structural spending reform, serious reform, we still risk having our credit rating downgraded. So we have to make sure we do this right, whether it's August 2nd, 3rd. We all want to get this done as soon as we can, but clearly what we heard yesterday was we have to do this right.
Well, Congressman Welch, what would doing it right be? These reports that we've heard coming out that there would be some delay about closing some of these tax loopholes, that entitlements are on the line, that potentially the mortgage tax credit could go away. You comfortable with that?
I'm not. I mean, there's two things. First of all, we have to pay our bills, and I actually do think if we default on August 2nd, it's a disaster. Whether you're Eric Cantor wanting tax cuts or Nancy Pelosi wanting to spend some more money on infrastructure, if we have to have $140 to $150 billion more in debt service at the expense of the taxpayers, that's bad for both sides. We just cannot default. Doing it right, Joe's right, we need a long-term plan. The long-term plan, in my view, is reasonable cuts and it's reasonable revenues, and they ought to be linked together. And the reason I think that is that there's a lot of room to get revenues by cleaning up the tax code. We could possibly lower rates. There's some common ground there, but why not get rid of the ethanol tax credit? I happen to think that we ought to go back to the Clinton rates for the higher income folks who have been doing quite well. That is going to put the biggest dent in this deficit with the minimum drag on a very fragile economy. So it's a balanced approach that can get us from where we are to where we need to be.
Well, let's talk about what's going on right now. It's over on the Senate side, but they're voting on cut, cap, and balance. And let me play for you what Harry Reid said just a short time ago.
This is an effort to move this piece of legislation off the floor. It's interfering with the negotiations between the White House and the House of Representatives, and it is without merit, this legislation.
Congressman Welch, should this kind of stuff even be going on? If this is the deal that Republicans want, do you have a responsibility to try and work with the Democrats, make some compromises?
I'm almost amazed with what Harry Reid just said. There's only one plan that's passed out of the House that meets the criteria that Standard & Poor's has given us, and that's cut, cap, and balance. And there's great momentum behind this idea. It's common sense. Make cuts, cap spending, and balance the budget. Pass a balanced budget amendment. This has great momentum. It's moved into the Senate. The Senate's going to vote on it today and take it up. And I don't think Harry Reid can get in the way of this.
So, Congressman Welch, let me ask you finally, how does this get done? Does it get done?
You know, right now it's in the hands of the president and Mr. Boehner. Those two are doing the negotiations, but there's really.
And are you comfortable with it?
I'm actually not. They're going to do their best, but since we've linked it up with this August 2nd deadline, it means that neither Joe nor me is going to have an opportunity to really kick the tires on this, to talk to folks back home, to be comfortable that it works. So it's going to be filled with challenges once they reveal what the details are. So it's a long way from here to there, and I'm anxious about it, to be honest with you.
Congressman Joe Welch, Peter Welch, very good of you to be with us today. Thank you for the discussion. We're following some breaking news. We're just